So can you tell us a little bit about the conversation maybe that you and Kellen had, what you can tell us, and just what was it like being told that you were going to be the starter this week?
I mean, it was a great feeling, but knowing that, there's a lot of work to be done. It was, he was just complimentary of the work that I've done behind the scenes, and I was going to be the starter for this week, and obviously continually so. But he just was kind of talking about what we need to do offensively, how we can kind of turn this around a little bit, and just looking forwardly. So it was a good feeling, but also in the same breath, we had a lot of work to do. So that's my mindset. And nothing changes process-wise, but the sense of urgency does. We're just going to have fun. We got to go out there and put points on the board and go out there and win.
Have you been confident all of it throughout the last couple of months that this time was going to come? Is this something you expected to come at some point this season?
In my head, I was ready to go in at any moment. So in a way, yes, I was ready to go in and do my job. I'm not expecting, the game to play out any certain way. I want to go out there and win. I want our team to win. So ultimately, we haven't been able to do that. And, I just want to be able to help the team as much as I can. And up to this point, I felt, I was doing the best I could. And I was helping out the defense, growing myself, learning a lot. And we got to continue to do that.
Obviously, this is the dream, right? Like to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. When you get news like that, like who's the first person you talk to after?
Yeah.
First phone call, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was my wife for sure. She's been such a huge role in this, and obviously just up to this point, from every college, every journey, every step in the process to now through the whole draft process. So it was a good feeling. But she's also, she is a competitor. She played soccer. She's like good, go out there and win. She's not really satisfied with it, and neither am I. Like there's nothing to be excited about. So it's just another step, and we got to go out there and win because I could have done a better job in the Bucs game. Who knows? We had opportunities to go out there and score. So yeah.
How would you measure kind of your progress throughout the course of the season, even in within wins and losses, and what you kind of look for to see your improvement?
I feel like I've gotten better each day and each week, and really my intentionality was trying to play a game within the game each week of practice, and what every rep I'm getting when Spencer's out there playing, learning everything I can, from those reps. So, I felt mentally just, you're seeing things for the first time, just a new play each week or a new defense. So that's kind of been the fun part is how does game planning work? How do we want to attack this? So that's been just kind of great to see for the first half of the season. And now you can kind of come into it. How do we kind of, what has worked well? What do we need to change? How do we need to make walkthroughs better? How can we have a little bit more urgency coming into practice each day? So I think that's been good for me to learn from.
Kellen told us he had no intent of making another quarterback switch. He doesn't want to flip-flop or anything like that. As a player, is that meaningful to you, knowing that like you can go out there and make mistakes and learn, without having to kind of worry about like, am I going to lose my job?
I think it's twofold. I think you have to perform. It's a performance-based league, and I think my job is to go out there and do that. And the only way, the other part of that is just have fun. I feel like my mindset whenever I'm playing the best is just attacking, feeling like I have nothing to lose as far as that because, I'm super blessed to be in this opportunity, and I've learned a lot. And I'm going to fail continually going forward. I'm going to make mistakes. So. I'm going to do everything I can to learn from those mistakes and then just have fun doing it, getting better. Because at the end of the day, this is the first time you're going to be seeing some of these defenses, some of these guys. The Rams are such a great team, so what a great opportunity, to go out there and just to let it rip.
When you reflect on the adversity that, you went through in your career between transferring, the injuries and whatnot, to see, finally get your shot at this point. I know you mentioned how you're never satisfied, but when you kind of reflect on all you've been through to get to this point, how does that feel?
Yeah, I think it's good to look back on and think about how little you may have known at that time and how much you've learned to this point. Because I think you look back, I think all of us can look back each year and thought we had it figured out or thought maybe we had come a long way. And I think the continual growth and process of it for all of us is the cool thing to see. So it's just another part of it. And I think as an offensive unit, we've grown week to week through failures and through losses, and I think we have to set the tempo and set the standard going forward and playing complementary football, and that starts with me.
How have your teammates kind of responded to you being named starter?
I mean, so far so good. And I think just building those relationships with those guys, it's been awesome throughout the locker room. Obviously, it's not like a fun situation. It's not, we're 1-7 right now. It's not like we got to go out there and play better. So, but I think there's an understanding that we need to come in there, and like I said before, going out to practice, let's have a sense of urgency, have some fun. We get to do this for a living. Let's go out there and be intentional about it. But obviously, I talked to all the receivers, man. We've been super close throughout this whole time, and actually finally getting some reps in practice with them has been really, really good. So, looking forward to kind of continuing that.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks was like one of the first guys to talk to you on the sideline during the game on Sunday. What have your continued conversations with him been like? It seems like y'all have a pretty good connection.
He just said, just remember what I told you in the beginning of the season. I think obviously he's been in the league so long, he kind of understands just how things go from a game perspective, how you can learn from each game, when you might get your opportunity, all that stuff, just staying ready. He just said, go be you, and just continue out every single day in practice. He's always talking to me, what you're seeing here, hey, if we're calling a shot, doesn't mean that you have to throw the shot, stuff like that. I think he's got great pointers, and he's kind of just like your, quarterback's old best friend. He's like the opposite of a tight end. He's the big body, but he's the smaller guy, but he's still the safety blanket for sure. But he's been great.
Would you say transition from backup to starter? It's obviously a leadership position. Just finding your voice in that role, is that something you think about? Does that happen naturally? Like, how do you kind of make that transition?
It happens naturally. You can't come in there and be corny or fake, but I haven't changed anything. I've been still sending out installs, the scripts, all that stuff, since the beginning of the season, and still doing everything I can to communicate with those guys. And I was trying to plan ahead as much as I could to whenever I do get an opportunity, or if that may come, it doesn't need to be like a, now I'm going to change, So I think you just be yourself, and guys will gravitate to it. And ultimately at the end of the day, you got to go out there and win. So, we'll get to it.
What do you want to prove to?
What if you can create your own website by saying, this is what I want? With Wix, you can.
Yourself or your teammates or the general public over the last 9 games here?
I'm gonna win. So I think if we win, then that'd be great. I think you can't really. You got to watch the film after the game. I don't even know. You don't know what's going to happen. That's the cool part about this game. So. At the end of the year, you can look back and reflect on it. But right now, my mindset is just keep getting better, and then do everything we can to win, and you go from there.
You face a Rams team that's like second in the NFL in sacks right now. What jumps out about their pass rush, the first pass rush we'll face is this one.
Yeah, they're probably the best in the league just from a disruptive standpoint, attacking the quarterback. So I got to do my role and protect the ball, be ready to step up, find different lanes, and just be comfortable back there. Play each play for a new one. You don't know what's going to happen, but their defense is incredibly good. They're all front seven, back end. They do a really good job. So it'll be a great challenge for us.
I know you kind of appreciate it. They trust you to play against a team like that.
I'm sorry.
So do you kind of have an appreciation that kind of trust you to go against a defense like this in your first game?
Yeah, 100%. Same thing against the Buccaneers. My mindset was like, screw it, let's go. What do you got? You got nothing to lose. Let's go out there and rip it. So you're going to get hit. You're going to get sacked. Not every play is going to be perfect. Same thing's going to be with the Rams too. They're probably going to make a really good play, and they're probably going to, do their job. They practice really well too, and we got to have our practice and routine and be sharp going into it to go out there and attack. So it's the NFL. Everybody's going to be really, really good.
How much of an advantage is it for you knowing that, instead of just getting thrown into the fire, you have a week of knowing, okay, I'm the guy this week, and go through practice with all that preparation compared to, I know you said the prep stays the same, but knowing that, you're the starter a few days ahead of time instead of just getting thrown in, how much of an advantage is that?
You get, 2 or 3 practice days to get some chemistry reps for and whatever the install is. But from it's not the same as a 8-week or full off season of reps and maybe in the offense. So there's going to be a lot of nuances of you're going against a new defense and there's a new kind of game plan or each week. So my mindset is to master it and do everything I can to where that comfortability is there and you get more time with it. But at the end of the day, you got to go out there and play football. And I think kind of keeping that same mindset to where you're building the game plan, but at the end of the day, you got to go make a play.
Do you think the offense will look different with you running it, or how will it be different? Just the differences naturally between you and Spencer. How will that look different, do you think?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. I think the game plan wise, I can necessarily give you any insider stuff as far as that, but I think just being able to watch and learn from him, and obviously Jalen in the past, and Dak and Justin Herbert and all the previous kind of places he's been, I think there's nuances to all of it. So I think it kind of changes each week. But I think for me and my skill set, obviously I want to do everything I can to get the first down and score touchdowns.
Going back to like your time running the scout team, one of the things Kellen was saying is it kind of allows you to like test your limits, push the envelope a little bit. Like, how much does that help you in your development? Like, saying you can try something that you may not necessarily try within the structure of like the all offense.
Yeah, that's been huge. It's been huge just because from a timing element, the pocket presence, like I mentioned before, ripping seams, hole shots, finding the checkdowns, finding different routes. Doing everything you can to manipulate defenders. That's been really good to kind of test that, and then obviously once you get later in the week, Friday, Saturday, it's more of a walkthrough tempo, but it's been great kind of going week to week and kind of continually going against those guys like Kool-Aid and Alante and Justin, who are great at disguising and great at tracking the ball. So you can kind of take it and learn from it.
It's also helped from like a pocket feel standpoint. Just like having kind of muddy pockets to work in.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost every rep. It's obviously we're not going to chop or hurt our own guys, but you're giving them a look, but they're going to obviously be in the backfield doing their job. So you got to navigate that, and that's kind of what Nuss and Scott have been really reinforced to me, is just play the game, and that's my mindset going forward.
Specific play or moment that already stands out just from whatever that was, 30 plus snaps, that was something you learned in that game from a situation that came up that nothing else could have recreated yet?
Just like something that is brand new that I learned from, meaning?
Yeah,
I think some of the situational stuff at the end is always great to see. Just third down, fourth down, what's your mindset, trying to get maybe half back. You don't have to get all of it, your thought process there, because obviously when you're just installing plays or running reps and you're trying to master those, but all the situational stuff was really, really good to kind of feel out. Fourth down, the one where I kind of spun and then I threw it too quickly to Jack, thinking I was a little bit warmer there, but it's fourth down. You might as well just try and scramble. That was good to kind of learn from, rather than you're playing quickly, but on that down, you don't need to. You can actually kind of extend it because it's the last down. Stuff like that was all great.
Do you remember the very first going quarterback in the NFL?
Probably when I was a kid, I had like a Brett Favre jersey on, and I remember I saw him just like spinning it. He was kind of one of my favorites growing up. And I don't know, you're a kid, so you call it a dream, I guess, but once you start to actually go into those reps, you realize how much of a daunting task that will be. You're like, oh, shoot, I got to get bigger, stronger, all that stuff. And then you get hurt a couple times. You're like, I'm definitely not going to the league. And you obviously have that inner belief, and I'm being facetious, but the task remains the same. It's you want to continue to grow, and you kind of, level up, and I haven't done anything yet, so there's a lot more to go.
The reality of it starting to kind of sink in, though, this week, or are you starting to kind of...
A little bit of both, a little bit of both. I think there's like I said before, that sense of urgency we got to get things going. It's not like a great feeling right now. So, but at the same time, it's just going out there and playing ball. So trying to have that perspective, but at the same time, we got to get things going.
It doesn't seem like you're taking it for granted, but I'm curious what you make of, the NFL is nothing's guaranteed. Even though John has no intention of making a switch, like, this is kind of your opportunity, how you're kind of approaching the stretch here.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a great opportunity. We got to go out there, and there's nothing, everything is ahead of us. We got nothing to lose. We nothing but green grass to go out there and do everything that we can to string along a lot of wins. And so that's my whole mindset. Why not? And I understand, obviously, if you don't perform well, then there's going to be learning moments, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you got to go out there and do everything you can.
Were there things that you
do away from the facility in terms of creating chemistry with some of those guys on offense?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to O-line dinners, bringing the tight ends every single week. You know, that's probably one of my favorite days of the week for sure on Thursday, spending 2 or 3 hours with those guys, just chopping it up, hanging out. So that's been really fun. Other than that, timing-wise, we're doing stuff on the plane over, just hanging out. You know, we're playing games together. And, you know, a lot of the guys, you know, will hop on the video game at night or if we're going over there. So little things like that to where you can kind of disconnect is almost equally as important when your chemistry on the field. That way you can have that discourse. And that's been really cool for me to kind of see up to this point where how you build those relationships up. And then also now you can kind of put them to work.
Is there a go-to game?
Go-to game?
Yeah.
I don't really play video games as much anymore because I got the wife and dog and we're really busy schedule. But I would say, you know, back in the day it used to be Fortnite, but really there's not much. I think it's making a run back. But I think for the main thing is I've actually been doing the VR stuff has actually been pretty fun to do. We've been we have that here, so that has been a good asset to kind of whenever I wasn't getting a lot of reps to kind of just plug through that.
Was that your first opportunity to work with VR in that way?
Yeah. There was a couple of different versions that I've seen in the past, but it's been working pretty good, just visualizing stuff, and because you know this is really the first day I've actually gotten to throw to CO and Sheed and Vele and some of those guys, so I'm trying to visualize it and then go from there.
How long did they to your development? Just having those guys to work with, and kind of just having to go see more like that.
I mean, it's huge just because of their dynamic ability. You know, I think to their playmaking, you know, how good they are at routes, their big playability, their precision. I think they obviously have done it at a high level thus far. And, you know, my job is to get it to them and kind of uplift everybody and do everything that we can to make sure that communication and all that stuff is great and what they need from me. So it's when I remember watching last year, just from afar and, you know, really admiring it and then kind of seeing it at this level, there is an uptick for sure when you're throwing to them.
There were reports coming out of the draft with the Rams of Ohio. Were they part of your draft process at all?
They do the draft process a little bit differently as far as not super involved with like Senior Bowl and stuff like that. But I got to develop a really good relationship with Les and all those guys over there. And I think they do such a phenomenal job at, you know, drafting, producing talent, just coaching wise. You know, I have a lot of respect for them and who they are as an organization. So, but like I said, what a great opportunity to go out there and be in LA and play a really good football team and to kind of go out there and cut your teeth and let it rip.
I know you said the main thing is to win football games, but is there anything deep down in the competitor to kind of show them what you're going to start on?
My mindset is to just elevate this offense any way I can and go win. You know, that may come out. You know, that I'm gonna compete my butt off. So, whatever it takes to do that.
There were a couple deep balls in the game that seemed like really close, but just a little off. Is that a reps thing? Is that something that over time, you can be?
Yeah. I mean, the one to Sheed, knew exactly it was cover zero. Was trying to buy a little time. Had a little double move, and I just got to put like a touch more air on it. You know, it sucks because it was right there. Threw it like kind of more of a regular go route, but with the double move, he slows down a little bit and just give him a little bit more air. It's kind of a feel thing, which, you know, we've been repping and we'll hit those for sure. And then, but yeah, I think as you continue to get more reps and just giving those guys more of a chance, we'll be good. And the one to CO as well was really close, but yeah, I think it's part of it.
You mentioned ago, I inferred that, and I inferred maybe incorrectly, you had some doubts during college as to whether this week or Sunday would ever come. Is that right?
No, I was joking. I've always believed that I feel like I've been good enough, but there is a reality as far as statistically, whenever you're not playing and you're hurt and you're sitting on your couch and you're like, man, I wish I could do anything to get out there. So it kind of gives you that cool perspective when you're practicing and you get to go play in a game. You know, what a great opportunity is. So I'm going to go play my ass off. You know, that's kind of what I was getting at. But, you know, as a kid, you understand that the NFL is the highest pinnacle. So it's obviously you have to do everything you can.
You got
stuck with the tab yet on the lens?
So I think my time is coming soon. I've been mooching off them for a little bit now. They've extended the invite out, so we ran up Kelvin's tab pretty good, and then week to week it's been good. But yeah, I told him I got the next couple ones. We'll see what we're gonna do, but it should be a good one.